Hi everyone, this is Deborah, and today I'm going to take the challenge that has been thrown down by Nick the Booksmith. And her challenge says that we're on a Disney cruise and suddenly we're shipwrecked and now we're on a deserted island and all we've got is our fanny pack, or in Australia we call them a bum bag. So in the pack we have 8 items, 4 that Nick has stipulated and 4 that you can choose. And from these items we have to make a junk journal. This is going to be a real challenge, but let's go and see what I've got with me. So the first item that Nick says you can have is paper. And I've got this coffee dyed paper, which is graph paper. So it's got graph on one side and plain on the other. So I've got a bunch of that. She said you could bring paper, so much as you wanted. The next item is some sort of cutting implement. She chose scissors, but I'm actually going for a craft knife and a steel ruler. The reason being is that not only can I cut with this, but I can also measure with this, and I can also score if I need to with this. So that's the second thing that Nick said we could bring. The other thing is some sort of needle and thread, which is needed to sew the signatures. My needle and thread is a large bore needle and this white wax cotton thread that I've found in the cupboard. And the fourth thing you can bring is an adhesive of some sort. So I've chosen this Liquitex matte medium. That's what I like to work with. And because I've chosen that, she's also letting you have a brush or some sort of applicator. So this is just the Tim Holtz Distress brush that I'm going to use to apply the Liquitex medium. And I will point out that I actually am decanting it into this little bowl. The reason I do that is because I don't want to contaminate my medium, and I'm sure that Nick will be fine with me putting some in here to use. So they're my 4 things that Nick said I could have, and then I get to choose 4 things. So the first thing that I've chosen, of course, is my trusty distress ink and applicator, and I've chosen ground espresso for that. And of course she said if you choose a distress ink, you're allowed to have an applicator as well. So that's number 1. The second thing I've chosen is a Copic marker. It's a multi-liner in black and it's a 1.0 size. I can write with this, I can doodle with this, I can use this when I'm measuring out so that I get things straight if I want to. So I thought that was a good choice. And then I've chosen this piece of Tim Holtz scrapbooking paper, which is double-sided. And it's kind of got like 12 little sort of ATC size images on it, back and front. And then the last thing that I've chosen is my book base. So this is just an old book and I've pulled the guts out of it, and it's only a little one. So I think that that's going to be quite good. So now I'm going to start my journal. So the first thing I need to do is work out how big this little book is, and hopefully I'm thinking that it's going to fit the pages enough. So it's 6.5 by 4, just over 4, and I'm thinking that if I fold, let's test this. Yeah, so if I fold my paper, which is A4, this paper I've coffee dyed, if I fold it and fold it in half again, then I have the right size for the book. Yep, okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this and I'm going to cut it in half. What I also like about this is it's got the holes at the side, so I've got places if I wanted to put things on and dangle them off. Not sure if we'll get to that point, but we'll see. So the first thing is to go through and cut all of these in half, and then I'm going to make the signatures and bind them in my little book. I wonder if I can just, oh, look at that, another use for my steel ruler. I was wondering how I was going to cut that, but I'm not actually going to cut it. I'm just going to use the ruler to cut it like that so that now it's in half. Okay, now we're away. Let me just cut down all the rest of these. I'll just show you that once again. I've just put the ruler in, and because it's a steel ruler and the paper's quite thin, it's going to cut it. Now it's not perfect, but perfect isn't something that I strive for, so I'm cool with that. Oh yeah, that's going to be quite cute. Okay. So now I have to work out, because I've chosen a book with a spine, and you can see when I've ripped the guts out of the book that it's coming apart a little bit. I'm going to have to use some of my precious scrapbooking paper to fix that. I meant to make sure that I don't do the ones that I really like. Let's see, where's this? So I want to make sure that I keep this map, because we're on a deserted island and you never know when we need to find our way home, do you? No. So I'm going to be careful not to just chop it all up into the same sizes. I've already cut this piece out and inked it, and I'm just going to cut the next one. And I don't want to lose this map and find it suddenly sitting somewhere where I didn't want it to be. Oh gosh, this is going to be a challenge, let me tell you. One little bit of scrapbooking paper and nothing else. Okay, and now I have to give a piece over into putting it into my book. Okay. So let's get away with the minimum that I can get away with. I'm just going to measure the spine, which is about 1 inch and maybe 1 1/8. So maybe I can get away with a 3-inch strip of paper. That's probably going to hold it. So I need a piece of paper that is 3 by, let's say, 6 1/2, maybe 6 1/4. Okay, I'll go for 16 centimetres. I often switch between inches and centimetres. I mean, I understand them both. I grew up in Australia when we had feet and inches still, and if I'm measuring something, it's easier to do it in centimetres rather than inches, then I do it and flip back. But of course I use inches a lot too because of scrapbooking. So I want them 3 inches wide, which I think these ones here, yes, so these little bits here are 3 and they're 8 inches wide. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure this is not something I want. All right, let's just take a breath and just chop this up. Maybe it was silly to use a book as the base. So now you've got to have this other bit on it. Never mind. And I'm going to, what did I say, 16 centimetres. So it's going to be down to here. Using my pen, journaling pen, to mark out my 16 centimetres. It is a bit thick for marking, but you could only bring one implement. And I thought the pen would be better than a pencil. So I thought I could, it's more versatile than a pencil, I thought. Just going to measure and cut that. Okay, save that precious little bit of paper. It's quite funny, isn't it? Those, I mean, I probably would save that, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't put it back in the box. I'd throw it in the bin. So it's very interesting now. I'm sort of scrapping around trying to save everything. Now the other thing is that I don't like these, so I might sacrifice one of my pieces of journal paper and put them on the front and back of that, because I really think that that's going to look tacky if I don't do that. I'm going to sacrifice the whole page. I may as well just do it. So if I put this here, it's at least going to cover up some of that stuff there. Maybe what I can do is just sacrifice one sheet for here, because this side's pretty good, and I can use the rest of what I cut off here in another way. So that's possibly the good idea, is to do that. I'm just putting down some of the matte medium onto the piece of paper and cover it all with the matte medium, because I don't want it to be lifting up. Make sure I'm getting those edges, which is also why I use a brush, because I like to make sure I get all of the edges. Now let's put this down. I can smell the coffee on the pages as well. It's quite nice actually. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I quite like the smell of the coffee. Okay, And then this is going to sit in here. Actually, like that side better. So this is where I'm going to sew my signature. I'm only going for one signature. So I'm going to start by folding it in half. This is where my steel ruler also comes in handy, because I can use my ruler to score down the page. Another reason why I didn't choose a pair of scissors. And I can also measure. I'm wanting to put 3 holes in this, and I'm probably not going to worry about measuring. I'm just going to take my pen, my pin, not my pen. I'm not in New Zealand, and put this in roughly the centre. Oh, there you go. I'm not worrying about measuring, and in it goes. Excellent. Okay. Oh, there you go. I haven't unwound it yet. But didn't expect it to pop through so easily. Just going to put this back in here. Sometimes I have trouble lining these up when I push back through the thing. I don't get, come through you think. Oh, there you go. I don't get the hole in the middle, but that didn't happen this time, so that's good. I'm going to pull enough through so I can go up and through again. Okay, just get that crease right in there. And I'm just eyeballing really where I want to poke this hole. I'm just really eyeballing it and hoping it, oh, perfect, coming out on the spine like that. Excellent. Okay, I've got that. And I'm going to probably not be so generous with this because I want to use it for doing other things. So I'm going to pull some of it back through into the centre. Make sure it's nice and tight. I've still got plenty there to tie it off. And push it through again. Oh, don't stick it in your finger. I missed the centre the first time, so I did it again, and then I stuck it in my finger, of course. That's pretty typical me, though, you know. Yeah, I've got oodles to tie that off. There you go. I've sewn that onto my spine. This is how I do it. I don't know how other people do it, but because now I need my knife. Luckily, I've got something to cut that thread with, because this is waxed cotton and there's no way in the world it would cut or it would rip. I don't believe. It would be very hard to tear it apart. Okay. Right. Cut that off. Great work, Nick. Great challenge. I'm thinking I'll pick my scissors up, but no, I've hidden them away so I don't actually do that. Ah, you're a wicked woman. All right, so I've got this really cute little signature. Isn't that beautiful? I could have done 2, but I just thought 1 would be plenty. And now I'm going to stick this in. So again with the glue, matte medium. Be fairly generous. I don't want to get it on the pages though. Don't have to put it in the middle bit because that's not going to be stuck to the spine, but I'll just putting it on there. And in it goes. Let's see if it fits. Okay, I've got all my, my one signature. I've now got that into the book. And now I have to think about doing some embellishments on it. So the only things I've got to embellish with are the ink. So I have to work out what I'm going to do with that. And my scrapbook paper and this little tiny bit of paper, the coffee dyed paper that I've got left over, and my wax cotton. Oh, and my pen. I've also got a pen. So let's talk about how we can do some embellishment on this. Now, just starting at the back. And otherwise I'll forget about the back, and I like to work from the back of a book. I don't know why. I read a magazine from the back as well to the front. It's a bit weird, but it's just what I do. And I'm thinking that I may be able to. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tear, probably not that because that's really pretty, although that's nice if that shows. Oh no, I like that. I'm going to find a page that's a bit blah. Yeah, this bit here is a bit blah, isn't it? And I'm going to tear it to create a pocket. I'm just going to take it and give it a bit of a tear down the edge. Okay, so I'm going to now use some glue and stick that together to make a pocket. And in there, because I think that's where the map probably belongs, I'm going to put the map so that when they need something, they'll be able to get the map out and find their way. So let's do some inking to grunge this map up a fair bit. Okay, so that's going to go in there, so that's really cute. I've got a little pocket in there, and let's think of what else I can do. I'll leave that page for journaling. Oh, that page is a bit wet. That's just where I put that glue, just wet it a little bit. And this one here, I think I'm going to turn this down. Let me see. No, I might turn this up. There you go. So I'm going to turn this one up and fold it. And again, I'm going to glue this edge down here, along here. And, oops. And that's going to create another pocket for me. I've got a little pocket here. Maybe I'll put this little bit in because this is only a tiny bit. Will that fit in there? Yeah, that'll fit in there. Look at that. Okay, give it an ink. It's going to go in there. And what else can I do? Now, this piece here that I inked up earlier, and I think I'm going to add this on here, and I can create another little pocket maybe on this side. Yes, I might do it on this one because I like that page. This page has got a bit of a rip in it, so that might be a good place to put a pocket, or even I might fold this one over. Yeah, in fact I'm going to fold this one over just to create some dimension in the book. Put some glue down, fold it over. I don't really have a plan, I'm just sort of looking at what I've got and what I can actually use to create what with. Yeah, I like that because you've got like a little half page now. And then what I might do, because I do have that half page, is I might stick this on there. So then it becomes like a little flap, another little journaling spot or something. I am using a wet wipe. I'm not doing anything wrong, I just don't like the stickiness on my fingers. I guess if I was on the deserted island I wouldn't have a wet wipe, but you know, I'd have the ocean. I could go and wash my hands in the ocean then instead of on a wet wipe. I could sit beside the ocean and do it. That sounds really nice actually. Oh, I like that. So I've got a little fold here. You can use that as a journaling spot. It's all a bit fragile at the moment, but I know when it dries it's all going to be fine. Now this piece here is the piece that I cut to line the front cover. I'll just finish cutting this down. And with this one, I'm going to fold it over so it's a bit thicker for a start. And then I'm going to create a belly band with that one. I'll just glue it down. And I'm going to go across the centre there. So when that dries, I'm going to have this little belly band in here that I'll be able to slide something in and out of. The next thing is this page, just so beautiful. I'm really impressed with myself for doing this particular page. I love it. It's so gorgeous. I might sacrifice some of my scrapbooking paper to put on that. Now the other thing I do need to remember is that I need some scrapbooking paper for the back here to bind that back, the spine. So I have to remember that I need some of that. So I'll probably cut that off now. And I think that I'm going to have to do the 3 inches of it too. Let's check what's on the back of this. Okay. I'm going to cut this off. Sometimes on this paper it's hard to see where one square starts and one square finishes, just simply because of the images that are on it. But it's a beautiful cardstock. I really love it. Okay, so I'm going to have a bit left over of this. So I'll just work out where I want it. Okay, and we'll do it in the 6 inches again. That's how much. No, it might actually need to have 6, well that's 16 centimetres that I did before. 16 centimetres. Gosh, that paper's getting whittled away, isn't it? Okay. Okay, that bit can go there. Then that's going to go on here. And I'm going to make something with this. Like maybe I could do a little pocket with this down the bottom here. And maybe I could do a little booklet. Next time I'm remembering that I do want washi tape, and I could probably, as much as I hate to say it, forego this ink. Although it doesn't look finished unless it's inked around the edges, if you ask me. But if I'm on a deserted island, maybe washi tape would be more useful. Also, you know, if I needed to bandage somebody, I could use the washi tape to bandage them up. And of course that's usually probably going to be me because I'm the clumsy one. And I really like this little thing here because it's going to... Okay. I'm actually going to write on this. I didn't think I was, but what I've seen inside is I've seen this little calendar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to count down the days. So I'm going to use my pen. I'm just going to make some marks in here like we've been on this deserted island for a long time, and I'm counting how many days there are. Yep. So that's how long we've been here. Been here a long time. We've been here for the last 6 days of March, and then 23 days in, oh, it's going back the other way, March and then February. We must be in, you know, bizarro land where everything's opposite because the calendar's going back. So I'm taking my needle and my wax cotton. Oh, I've got a helicopter overhead now. Going to put it in one side and tie it off, and then get a piece that matches and put it in the other side and tie it off. I've got this little book, just tie that up, and I'm going to put that aside because I want to put that obviously in the book, but I'll need somewhere to tuck it. So maybe I'll use this piece that I had from before and glue it down at the back here. And that can be a little, oh, I need to glue the top and bottom, forgot about that. This can be a little tuck spot for that book. Oh, got a bit of cotton in there. Just let that dry. I'm a bit impatient to get things done, so that's got to dry a little bit. Bit I missed there. Okay, so that little book's going in there. And I've got, oh, hang on, where did I put the belly band? So here's the belly band, so I can put that little bit in the belly band. I'm going to sew this piece onto here rather than gluing it. I could glue it, but I think I'll actually sew it, something different. I'm going to tie it up before I keep going. Just doing a running stitch, nothing too fancy. I'm not the best hand sewer in the world, let me say. I'm much better if I'm on the machine. Got a couple more pieces left yet. I think using these insides of these is quite a good idea. I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to fold this over. Glue it. And turn it down. going to give it more strength for a start. She might tear this piece, so I'm just going to give it a tear. Grungy on there. Maybe I will stick that on because I quite like that effect of having this little flap with something stuck on there. It's just adorable. Look at that. So cute. And maybe I shouldn't have put as many pages in here as I did, because now I'm faced with the dilemma of saying, oh my God, I've got so many pages in here. I think that's too big for there. I think this one will look better, so I'm going to switch it over and just ink those edges. It'll fit much better in there than the little book did. So I have to find another place for the little book. I suppose I could just tuck it in between the pages, couldn't I? Yeah, I could. I could just sort of tuck it in. Or maybe I'll put a little thing down here. Where is it? And then I can slip it in the back here. Okay. I'm just a bit worried that it's not going to be wide enough. If I do it across this way and slip it in the back, I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to cut a strip off this here. Still got plenty of paper left. I'm just going to cut a little strip off here and stick this here. Yeah, I could do a belly band, couldn't I? Yeah, I could do a belly band. That will give me more room to stick. Just going to cut this down here. Okay, bit of glue on each end. Glue on each end. Put the belly band down. Oh, hang on. Up with the belly band. I need to ink the edges. Probably going to do a bit of a collage on this page. So I've got this piece of paper here. I'm just going to start by laying that down. And cutting a bit, I've got this little bit here as well. I'm just going to grunge that up. And cut this fellow out. I think it's nice to have some collage on a page as well, not just have little pockets and things, but have a little arty thing. Put this across here. Okay, and I've got two little bits of paper left, so I need to make the most of my little bits of paper. Where am I going to put them? On there. Just looking for somewhere where see this bit here through here's not got much on it, has it? I'm probably going to create, what am I going to create here? This time I'm going to fold both pages over to give it a little bit of strength. Like that. And a bit of blue top and bottom. Create another little pocket. It's very challenging, I've got to say. I'm quite impressed at how challenging this is. And this can get cut down a teeny bit because it's just a teeny bit too big. I don't want to cut it down so it doesn't show. Hopefully I've chosen well. I didn't measure. Maybe I should have measured. Okay, I'm definitely going to grunge the edges because that's going to create a real darkness, and you'll be able to see it better, so you'll know that there's something in there. I don't like that at all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the little pocket there so that they can, you know, the journal can put something in there when it gets used, and stick a bit more glue on there to make it a bit better. Check my collage is dry. It's a bit of a humid day here today, and sometimes it's hard for glue to dry, and different mediums, particularly Mod Podge, I can never say that, particularly Mod Podge. I can't use Mod Podge, and anyone who's living in Brisbane shouldn't, or in the north of Australia, shouldn't be using Mod Podge. It just doesn't dry because of the humidity. It dries, but it remains tacky all the time, and it's really horrible. So I really don't want to use that. Got a little tuck spot in there. I've got really not much to tuck into it. But this one that I inked before, in fact I might do the tiny one. And I'm wondering how I can create, because I've now, was hoping I could create a little envelope or something, but I think it's just going to be too difficult to create an envelope. I can create a little folded bit like that though. A little folded piece, and then I can put it, like hang it off here as like a little swing tag. So maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll create that. Where's my needle? It's pretty easy. I'm just going to put that through there, tie it up. And then poke it through. I wonder if I can find somewhere where I've got two of those. No, not really. Kind of used most of those up. You don't want to use that. Okay, where was I? Just finding my spot again here. This one here. I'm going to tie this up here so it's like a little swing tag, and they can you can take it off and write in it and then tie it back on. That's cute too. I like that. Very sweet. And two little bits of paper left. Okay, let's use them wisely. Let's see what else we need to do. Okay, I've got that, got one in there. Got a fold up there with a little, oh, it's stuck. This is the problem with using glue. I'd normally use double-sided tape and it wouldn't get stuck. But, oh well. I'm going to have to repair that with a piece of paper and then still use this for the, I can still use this for the pocket, but I think I need to repair this with a little piece of paper, unfortunately. That's going to have to be repaired. Okay. That's stuck down. So now I've only got one little piece left. So I've folded over this little bit of paper and I want to make a tab somewhere where I don't have much on the page. For example, here. Okay. Guess I could do some journaling or something in it. I've got my pen, but I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to put my writing in it in case I ruin it. Oh Lord, what am I going to do? Will I do some doodling? I don't know if I want to do some doodling or not. I suppose if I doodle, I can always cover it up if I don't like it, can't I? Okay, so maybe I'll doodle some flowers and plants because we're on the deserted island, and so maybe I'm the botanist. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to be the botanist and I'm going to doodle the flowers and plants that are on the deserted island. So this is the book now finished, and if you'd like to look at the flip through of the book, I'll put a link to the other video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.